Welcome to Cool Cars here on Giltrap TV. In this edition we say hello and goodbye to the Bentley Mulsanne. We catch up with Le Mans winning Porsche driver Earl Bamber, who explains how he finished first and second in the same race. We welcome the new Lexus LC500 to New Zealand and drive Kia's all-new Stonic. And of course a great lineup of cool cars and great deals. And what a wonderful start to the week and a reminder of the importance of community. Thanks to the team from Giltrap Skoda who hosted a whole group of children from Starship who took on test drives of a very different kind. Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, Bentleys and McLarens were joined by the breakers. What a wonderful day. Let's talk Bentley. And lately we've had a great time talking about and driving cars like the Pikes Peak Edition GT and of course the new Bentayga, but for all their new century style and technology, the all-wheel drive, the car that probably most defines Bentley, in my opinion at least, is the Mulsanne. It's big, it's old school, dripping with luxury class, it's royally serene. But now we have to bid farewell to the Mulsanne and that majestic 6 3/4 litre V8, which by the way is the longest running V8 in production. Since 1959, it has been the subdued power under the hood of pretty much every Bentley flagship. And now to farewell the Mulsanne and that V8, Mulliner have produced just 30 675 edition versions. That's worldwide, and 2 have been secured by Bentley Auckland. The simple fact, they are as Bentley as a Bentley gets.
They are. They were designed from the ground up at Crewe. There's a huge amount of man hours goes into making each one of these. This particular car, when you look at not only the Mulliner content, but the Duotone, you're talking probably 650 man hours of assembly time, excluding the build-up time.
Well, so let's put that in perspective because we hear about mass production nowadays, cars being turned out, measured I guess in minutes per unit. Say at Bentayga, which is a hand-built car, I think it takes about 130 hours, and that's for 53 artisans to build it.
That's right.
So the time that goes into this is something incredible.
It is something incredible. You said, you talked about mass production. In fact, when this car first came out, Bentley's marketing slogan was the opposite of mass production. And these cars really are the opposite of mass production. They're built in tiny numbers. There's very few of them in New Zealand, I think about 25.
And at Bentley Auckland this week, that 675 edition demonstrator is the Cool Cars Special. Quite literally, a never-to-be-repeated offer. And just about to arrive at Lexus of Auckland City, that's 450D. It's the new model, and as you'd expect, it is packed with options. And Lexus of Auckland City have also just welcomed the very first LC500 convertible to arrive in New Zealand. It is a proper stunner, and I want to start with the 500 because, mate, I know you're excited about this car, but the 500, that means 5 litres, doesn't it?
It does. Listen, we all love the LC Coupe, but to have this car arrive just at the start of the summer, I think it's just amazing. Just amazing.
In a V8.
In a V8, 10-speed gearbox, so the engine's always optimised.
Let's talk numbers. Yep. What's the grunt like?
351 kilowatts, 540 newton metres.
I'm good with maths. 470 horsepower.
Lots of horses. And
no turbo, so it's a proper old school naturally aspirated high revving V8.
Yeah, proper V8.
Can we jump in because I want to talk speed, not top speed.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk design in a moment, but I want to talk about the speed of the soft top.
Yep.
Because I've been doing some reading on this, and I love what you told me. Is it up to speed?
Up to speed, 15 seconds. And not 15 seconds just sitting here like this. 15 seconds, you can put the top up or down up to 50 kilometres an hour.
You know what I'm thinking right now?
I know. You want to go for a drive.
Mate, because that's faster than the average speed on the motorways most of the time in Auckland. That'd be awesome. Yeah. And that's up and down?
That's up and down.
50 k's an hour.
Shall I?
Go for it, I'm going to time you. Okay, that's 5. Oh, I think that was about 14.7, Sean.
Lexus, precision.
Fantastic. Well, now we've got the full light on the interior. You can actually see, as usual, Lexus have gone to town. Well, Le Mans winning Kiwi Earl Bamber has been home, well, only long enough for some managed isolation, and to announce the name of the driver who'll be in the new Team Porsche New Zealand car run by Earl Bamber Motorsport in the Australian Carrera Cup. He's 18-year-old Matthew Payne, and what an opportunity he's got to follow in the shoes of Earl Bamber.
I mean, it's huge, especially with Earl's sort of experience and his nature. You know, he's huge in New Zealand, and to be selected, I think it's amazing. Especially the opportunity is cool. I think not many people get offered this sort of thing, so that's hard to come by as well. I think it's amazing to be in the family. You know, it gives you a long-term career goal sort of thing, and I think you can sort of stay in there and they'll treat you well and give you good opportunities to progress through, and I think, yeah, it's a really good opportunity.
And also part of the program, competing in the Sprint Cup in Australia, is another up-and-coming Kiwi, Madeline Stewart. But speaking of Earl Bamber, he's had a heck of a year, a bit tough, but he had an amazing finish at Sebring where he did something I never thought was possible. He finished first and second in the same race.
If we go to the season, quite frankly, we had a dream season in 2019, winning the championship, winning a lot of the big races. And in 2020, we had a new car, we had high hopes, we had a really good team, and just nothing went our way. And I think like everyone else in the world, if something could go wrong in 2020, stuff was starting to go wrong. And we were just having a difficult year. And then we did Spa 24, and you know, we had a tough week. I mean, between you and I, we sucked. We were so slow. But we kept working at it, and then we ended up at the front and leading. And then on the last lap, the gearbox started to blow apart, and we were like, no, this can't be taken away from us. And we won that race, and then we won the next one as well. And then we went to the final race of the year, and we had this odd predicament where we didn't have enough drivers. Porsche didn't have enough drivers. So then the idea came that they should split me across the cars. And so I drove in 911 and 912. So I did 6 hours and 40 minutes of the 12-hour race. So I drove a lot. And yeah, it was really ironic because I led in 911. On our car in 912, we struggled. And it was a really weird sensation because at the end of the race, I wanted to fight the sister car to win. But I knew I was going to win anyway. Yeah, I was going to win anyway. So it was really strange dynamic, if that made sense. I think it's a parting way, you know, the right way that we ended that program with a 1 and 2 for Porsche, and to win the Sebring 12-hour again, for me to get my first Sebring 12-hour, the first big race in America, was really, really cool. And what started as a horrible year, you know, in the middle of the year, we were like, God, we can't do anything right, ended up in 3 wins in a row and 2 of the really big races, so that's all right.
2 steps to the podium. When you're up there, what were you thinking?
Well, it's this awkward situation. It's like, where do you stand? It's a good problem to have. Which one you stand about, just in the middle like that. And
you find a link to that full interview on this week's Cool Cars and also on Giltrap TV on YouTube. And Aston Martin Auckland have a great Cool Cars special right now, a 2018 DB11 in divine red. What a colour. Giltrap Volkswagen have your holiday sorted. This Grand California it sleeps for, drives well. I'd love this to be on my Christmas list. We'll dream on, Sean. And another great family holiday car, this Volvo XC90, a 2018 model at Archibald and Shorter. And at Giltrap Kia, the new Kia Stonic. Now, I did try to explain the name when we drove the Stonic. I'm not going to excuse the name though. What a road test and what a cracking wee car, and a contender for best value on the market at $21,990. Now, I want to address something straight away, and you probably noticed with those smaller wheels. Normally, when a new model is introduced for reviews and test drives, it's the very top model that's put out there for reviews, for testing, to give that great first impression. You know, the same way you're on the best behaviour the first time you met the in-laws. You know what I'm talking about. This, though, is the LX, the base model, but I've got to say it doesn't feel base. It has some amazing spec, especially in the safety front. I've noticed out here on the motorway now, it's got lane assist. It will keep you in the lane. It's got forward collision warnings. It will stop you hitting a car, pedestrian, even a cyclist. As well as that, there's driver alert monitoring. And I've noticed something as well. We mentioned the Apple CarPlay, and I just discovered that this car has it via Bluetooth. Now, I've only driven one other car in all my time, and I've driven hundreds of cars, trust me, that had this system, and it was a $200,000 car. This is a $21,990 car. So what is the Stonic? Well, if you like, it's a urban hatch and high heels, but those extra couple of inches, they feel like a lot. They give you better visibility, more presence on the road, and a lot more spacious cabin. This doesn't feel like a tiny car to be driving it, but despite the extra height, you don't lose any agility or refinement. And While I might criticise the 15-inch wheels for not filling the rims as beautifully, aesthetically as the 16 and 17-inch wheels, they do give some nice compliance to the ride. And as a result, this is a surprising wee gem to drive, both in town and here on the motorway. And that's Cool Cars on Giltrap TV for this week. Do stay safe out there, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Some great news from Lamborghini. On Cool Cars this week, we say hello and goodbye to the Bentley Mulsanne, the new Lexus LC500. We sit down with Earl Bamber and take a drive in the best value car in New Zealand.